right, you're with Al, and this is Chronicles of a Not Yet Champion Golfer. So this is episode 2 of Down the Line. Started it last week, me and the Biff. In episode 1, we spoke about what it's like playing major championships, how it differs from playing like regular tour events. Perfect. This week is following on a little bit that theme, really, talking about what it's like to actually win majors. And we've got someone on that knows what he's talking about with that, has won the Masters. It's not him, by the way, that's not a clue. So we've got Dan Willett, who won the Masters in 2016. We've got Dan's caddy, Slammer Sam Haywood. Said that quite quick, it sounds like a boxer. And we've got Dan's manager, John Muff. Muffy, that doesn't sound so much like a boxer. Yeah, they work as part of Dan's team, but they're all best mates and been best mates for a long time. We just had a really good laugh filming this. We cover everything from Dan's winning the Masters, what it was like from his side, what it was like for Slammer and Muffy, because they were just watching as fans, watching their best mate basically win the Masters, and what it was like after Dan won the Masters, because he had his struggles with his game, sort of dropped way down the world rankings, but come back up over time, worked hard, got back up to inside the top 50 where he is now, won some massive events. So there's plenty to take from it, kind of from a mentality side, but there's some great stories in there as well. Like Sam has played Augusta. He played with Dan in 2018. I think he went as his guest. Sam's a quality player, by the way, like really good, swings it brilliant. And he actually nearly beat Dan on that day. And they've got some great stories about that round, but it's even more impressive that he nearly beat Dan that day, because Sam's short game, a little bit questionable. We had a great laugh filming it. I hope you have a laugh listening to it. I'm going to stop talking now and we'll just get on with the show. It's not a show, is it? What is it? We'll just get on with whatever it is. Oh! Hey! There he is, he's in. Hey! We're all in.
Love it.
We thought it might be nice to have a little chat with someone that played the Masters and actually won it, and he's actually somehow randomly grown his hair back. You definitely didn't have that hair before.
Look.
He hasn't,
my hair's gone. My hair's gone. It's just that with very careful manipulation and gel, I can get it looking less bald than it usually looks.
Clinging on.
Great.
At least you've accepted it. You've accepted it.
Always shoot upwards is a new trick as well.
Yeah.
So never have this video this way. Always up.
You three were all at the Masters when you won, Dan, weren't you?
Well, I was there, yes. Well done, Al.
Yes, we were all there.
Slammer, were you there mentally, or were you like in a different place?
I was wandering around aimlessly.
Sam and Muff were there drinking, watching some superb golf.
Oh,
it
was. What a week. They had, what I like about the place is they have 5 or 6 perfect watering holes where you don't have to venture to get your beer. Just set out splendidly for that.
Oh,
and it's very reasonably priced, isn't it, Samuel?
Being from Yorkshire, that makes all the difference.
Yeah. The most important thing is it's reasonable.
Yeah, Muffy, you were there actually working, weren't you? You were working for another management company when you were there.
Well, I was working for ISM, obviously, who were managing Danny at the time, and I used to look after Matt Fitz, and he'd had a really good year, so he qualified through finishing. So I think, well,
must have been top 50.
Must have been top 50. Yeah, must have been top 50, obviously. And he'd qualified, and Chubby didn't want me to go because there was too many people, basically. They didn't need all the staff there. Fitz, he really wanted me to go, so he gave me a ticket blessing for the week. So I went and stayed with him all week, and then I was there just as a fan. So me and his manager now, Ted, we were just walking around drinking beers all day on Sunday. So it's quite a
nothing really changes for him, to be honest.
I do that every Sunday. I do that every week. So it was
every day ended in Y at the minute.
Brilliant. So it was a bit surreal on the Sunday though, because Fitzy had finished and he was playing Hilton Head the week after, but I wasn't going. So I packed him off, and he'd had a good finish. He finished 6th, I think.
He finished. He had a really good Sunday, didn't he?
He finished top 10. He had a good last round.
Yeah.
And so I walked around with Matt, and then finished. And it was always my plan to go and have a wander with Dan and see where he was at. But obviously, Spieth was like, quite far in front. And then obviously we were in the caddy bit, and I was with Keno, I think, at the time. We were sat watching a bit, and it obviously unfolded, and Spieth did what he did, and I was like, right, I'm going to get back out on the course. So I managed to get out to sort of 16.
All right, so you actually got there and Dan took the lead effectively.
Yeah. So it was unbelievable. But
I was going to say, Dan, what was that like?
That's massive.
Like, were you aware of it? Like walking off 15? Because I remember there was a massive cheer. The leaderboard changed, and then you went top it as Spieth made like 26 or whatever he did.
No, there's a massive leaderboard right hand side of 15, and I think he turned. He turned at 700, didn't he? And I turned at 2. And then we parred 10, parred 11, parred 12, birdie 13, birdie 14, parred 15, tapped it in. And we looked up and I'd seen that it'd gone from 7 to 6 to 5. And then the board changed and it went from 5 to 1. And we at the time, we were at 4. We obviously were still behind him. We were at 4 under.
And then did you just look for the nearest toilet?
There's a little, and then I've got my little shrine of a bathroom down the back of 16 now that I go visit every year.
I was watching it on 16, and I'm like, wow, Dan's actually got. He's going to win the Masters here. Like, he's got a good shout. And then the second thought is like, I go into my own way of thinking, so I'm like,
don't shank it.
Win the Masters, and then I'm thinking, nah, he's going to top it in the water. That's my own, like.
Do you remember the moment, though, when I found you eventually on 18 and we just, like, hugged each other and we were like, Dan's going to win the Masters. And we were both just stood there.
Did you have a real moment, did you?
Well, before that, the funny thing before that was, when everyone's talking about, like, the scoreboard changing. So, at Augusta, you're not allowed phones anywhere on course. So, you have no idea of updates and stuff like that. And me and Jason, Greg were walking around when he starts making birdies, and you can't see anything. There's trees everywhere at Augusta, so you can't really like see the hole before at times, and stuff like that. And we heard like this, thought it was a cheer, and we were like, oh, that might be a birdie. And then some randomer in the crowd said, Spieth hit it in the piss on 12. And there's no way of confirming that. Also, we had about 15 minutes of waiting for the scoreboard to change it to say he's going to be at 5 here or something like that. We didn't know he'd got bogey. And then all of a sudden it changed from it literally went from 7 to 2. And we just went berserk. Absolutely berserk. And Westwood's
amazing.
Westwood chipped in on 15, didn't he? The back of 15.
Yeah.
He's one behind.
Because it was like an ISM group. It was like, everyone was like, we were like, oh, Dan's got a 4-shot lead. Then Westwood chipped in, like, oh my God, how is he at lead by? Well, it was absolute mayhem for that little 10 minutes. I had a big decision to make actually on about 7.
Yeah, we were because we were chatting, weren't we? Me and you, Slammer.
I had a flight to get because I was working the week after for Uline. Uline doesn't know this actually, so if he ever listens to this, he'll know this now. But I had a flight.
For Uline, didn't you? I forgot you can.
Yes.
Forgot that, yeah.
So
I used to look after Pete. I was looking after Pete at the time.
Yeah,
so I was doing his management stuff.
After 9 holes basically to make my flight because it was so far away from Atlanta and everything, and it was like a do or die moment. And at that point, Dan was like 4 or 5 back. But I said, I can't leave him here. He's going to finish like top 3 or 4 in the Masters. So I said, Pete will understand. He'll be right, won't he? Like, fair enough. So I just basically said I'm going to leave it and tell him that my flight got cancelled. And imagine if I'd got on that flight and missed that.
Imagine if you'd have left after 9 holes and never got to stay around, Sammy.
I know.
Pitch up at Atlanta Airport and Dan's got the green jacket on.
And then, but then everything happened, so I'm late anyway for him. And then my flight to Paris got cancelled. I was working in Spanish Open, didn't I? I went round the office to get this. I didn't get to work for Wednesday.
Yeah, you had a shocker. I remember that.
Obviously, the big thing here we're talking about is Masters 16, Danny winning. But there was a bigger match, after all this between Dan and Slammer. So obviously, we've seen these scorecards on social media. Obviously, Slammer's got quite close to you, Dan, without coming down the last and stuff.
I made 3 horrible bogeys as well, didn't I?
I
can't even tell people that like he had to play off at ladies or anything either. Like, because
no, like, he did off the first.
Me and him know that would be just an out-and-out lie. The only tee box that he played about 15 yards up on was one, just because they don't know how good your playing partners are, so they just ask you just to play off the forward ones in case they pipe it into clubhouse and stuff. Lo and behold, Slammer steps up and stripes it 320 down middle.
It's the best time I've ever hit that one.
Flies it. I was a bit nervous, so I hit 3 when Slammer just pulls driver out and just flies it all down left hand side. Brilliant.
On a serious note, Sam, round there, right? Obviously, no one. I'm going to call you normal here at this point, but no one normal gets to play Augusta. So,
Sammy's not normal.
Like, I'm completely with you on the feeling of I don't know what your short game was like at this point, but I've got a little phobia from the Scottish Open when your short game was not.
Yeah.
Was not at that point. How does
someone nearly spat it out
with the double it?
And I've been there, mate. I've been there. Honestly, I have been there. One of my best. I was at a Euro Pro event at Slaley Hall. Warm up before we went out, and I played all right first round actually. But I'm like, I won't have an issue on the chipping green because I'm just warming up. There's no consequence to this. I reckon this chip is like 20 yards, and it's about 40 yards the other side of the green. There's lads warming up that side, and I've hit one, and I've fully like knee jobbed it, full knee. Balls come out like this high, head high, and throw straight into the lad's ankle the other side of the green. I'm like, sorry.
I had the shortest span as a professional ever. I turned pro, played about 3 events, and then stopped playing and went into caddying. But I went to Euro Pro Q School one time, Dan. Is it Filford?
Filford,
yeah.
I had 15 birdie putts and an eagle putt for 82 one time.
How did you get round Augusta when you short game?
It was brilliant.
Well after that.
Not great. You just put everywhere. Did you hit every green?
They didn't miss many.
No, I was fine after that. I settled my nerves after 7-9. I played lovely.
You played really good at Augusta though, didn't you, Sam? I obviously walked around. I was lucky enough to be Dan's walking guest as well. Yeah. So he took us in he took us in the champions locker room for breakfast, which was pretty special. And then we walked around, and there was literally nobody else on the golf course once you got off one.
There were no wind. There were no wind or anything, were there? But
it was just pure, wasn't it? But he played so good.
A random time. Awesome. So just like
it was a Sunday. It was a Sunday before.
9 o'clock Sunday, wasn't it?
No, it was a Sunday. So it was 2 years ago because it was the year before they started the ladies' championship on the Sunday. So it was completely empty. We teed off at about 9:30. Like Sam said, there was like a bit overcast, so no shadows. Nobody likes shadows if they're having their perfect day. Yeah. No wind, t-shirt weather, not too warm, not too cold, and a bit of dew on ground. Sam likes a bit of dew when he's chipping, so as a little skid. A little bit of give in the grass. It was they hadn't shaved it down, so it wasn't stupidly fast and stupidly firm, but it was just it was the most perfect time to play golf ever.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to be honest about it. The setup was the greens were about a foot slower than they would be, and the grass for chipping and pitching was just a shade longer. So it actually was quite nice for someone who doesn't chip that well, really. But before we pegged off, I was a little nervous. I was hitting balls on the range, and I don't know. I'd practiced this. And I really wanted to shoot under par or just shoot a good score, basically. So, and whenever I'm trying, I always get a little nervous, no matter what it is. And I said to Dad, no one's going to be round, are they? They'll be like, no one. There'll be no one around, will there? He's like, no, it'll be dead, pal. Right. So we've warmed up on the range, and you've got to go to the first tee box, so you can't see anything. It's just a building. As I peered round the thing, there must have been 300 people on the first tee box. Drive chip and putt. I fucking shit myself. And there were like 50 people around first tee box. And then
it's funny because you pitched up there and you were looking good as well.
I was like, what? Like, where have these guys come from?
Was this the year you were defending, Dan? I'm guessing.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
No, it would have been the year after because the year I took Smarty, didn't I?
I guess
yeah.
Still have a lot of attention on you, I suppose, rocking up as a Masters champion. Like, you're still gonna have a lot of people watching and.
Well, obviously, the Sunday before the Masters champions can take a guest. On the Sunday before, that's kind of one of them perks. So The golf course is usually pretty quiet first thing in the morning because the drive, chip and putts going on and other stuff. So, I didn't quite expect there to be that many people like watch, because that's why we went early, because we thought we'd just try and get out of the way of people. But
there were a sneaky amount of people.
Oh, there were loads of people because everyone was watching the kids on the 18th green do the putt side of it.
I must have been so dialed in on the tee shot because there were people around that. Like I said, I striped it down 1-5 pin and just hit the most horrendous little 9-iron in there and made bogey. It was
spun it back off the front edge. It was shocking. It was a tricky flag though.
Are we going to talk about 15, Sam? 14?
Well, when I bottled that chip.
Yeah.
Three of the worst bogeys.
I was really rooting for him. I really wanted him to shoot level par or better.
Where did this, right? So at that point, Dan, what would I have been on scorecard? I would have been 100.
You were probably level 100 because you just birdied. You knocked it on 13, didn't you?
Yeah, I knocked it on 13. And I 1 over, so I was 100 at that point, and I missed the green on 14 out. And all I specifically said to myself was, I'm going to put this because if I try and chip it, it could be round over. If I make an 80,
and it was the most delightful looking chip you've ever seen. Just over a little knuckle off a lovely lie, green sitting at you. But then about 2 yards after the pin, it goes down the front, so you're just a bit long.
Yeah, the problem with Augusta is as soon as you hit your shots, sometimes you know you're up shit creek. You can be like 20 yards left of a pin and it'll get closer to the hole at times. But if you're like 1 yard right, and it was a tight right pin, I don't know why
really tight.
And then in the air, I'm like, oh,
I guess that's what it's like. Obviously, I've never been to Augusta, but I guess it's like if you don't hit your landing spots, then you are having an absolute nightmare around there. But if you're hitting your landing spots, you can shoot a good number, 66, 67, or you're shooting 76, 77 if you're not hitting the right spots.
Yeah, you don't have to be far out to look like you're a long way out.
Yeah.
I
had the par 3-6 green. The pin was back left. It was in a little, it's a real small. It onto the right hand section, and I didn't realise how dead that was until Dan was laughing on the way down. You're going to be in trouble. And I'm like, no, I'm on it's a green now. I've got a birdie. I tried to put to the pin, and I had 60 foot left of par. Managed to get down into from there.
It was a good day. But yeah, for all the people who don't know Sam out there, Sam's an exceptional golfer who just decides to play once every blue moon and shoot 65. So he's a very fortunate character.
I think people underestimate that, don't you? The level, like I always play against Paul and we always have games but we're competitive when we play, but doing it for 4 rounds is a completely different thing. And I think that's something that people don't see, that how much them golf course can like wear you down mentally, like absolutely hammer you, just relentless. And once you get on a little bit of a bad run, trying to keep it together for 4 rounds is a massive challenge. You can't afford to just go, I'll bin this and shoot an 81 because you're gone. Do
you know what, for me, Al? If those people on the first tee had followed me around, I'd have shot 90. Don't like playing. When I was playing, I could spot a greenkeeper from a mile away. You know, like it was like on a challenge. Yeah. I mean,
I'd say one of the challenges that is for me is trying to beat Sam. That was the main reason I got the golfing bug back when I'd really struggled, is because Sam started to beat me very easily, very regularly. So then that was me me needing to sort my life out.
Well, that was one of the things I was going to ask, Dan, to be fair. Like, obviously you went from where you went from in 16 to then, we'll call them the doldrums, but then obviously coming back and actually winning at DP World, our tour champs on the European tour. You know, you've got 2 very good mates with you on this call, and obviously me and Al as well. Like,
I've got 3 really good mates on this call, and then the producer sat there sipping Corona.
That would have been brilliant.
Is that Corona?
Professional.
Like, was it like your mates and stuff that helped you get through all that as well, or was it just work ethic, or what? Or
no, it was everything. Everything. Nick at home with the kids and stuff. Obviously, Sam at the time had a really good job, and I was playing absolute dog. I was like 400 in the world, and not very often that you offer someone less money and a worse job and they take it.
4 hours.
more hours for less money. How do you fancy missing the next 15 cuts in a row and earning absolutely no cash?
Sign me up, bro.
We had some good weekends, didn't we, Sam?
We did. Not lose very often.
But I think that was a big part of it. Is that obviously Sam, he basically Slammer. We've been best pals for bloody hell nearly 20 years or so, and it was one of them where he knew I was struggling. He was like, right, I'm going to come. I don't care about anything. I'll come. We'll make sure that you're all right. I don't want you travelling the world playing like this and then being on your own as well. So luckily, luckily I've got a pal on the bag like that. And then we worked his nuts off for 2.5 years to try and prove that we could do it. And then it's been nice now the last 18 months that I've been able to reward him for his hours. At one point he was on about 7 pence an hour.
I remember it.
We've
it
now
well.
evened it out.
I remember it well. It was at the Players, and you asked him to work for the week. And after the first day, me and Slammer were walking to the caddy shack or something, and he went, "Oh my God, I didn't realise how bad he's got." And then he said, "I'm gonna have to help him. I think I'm gonna have to take this job full time." I think.
When we really started struggling is when Sam said he was going to give me a chipping lesson. That's when things got bad.
Free of charge.
Yeah.
It's funny when you're in camp, you can actually see where it's starting to change a little bit. It's like, so there'll be a couple of 73s and 74s, and probably like general public will be like, "Oh yeah, he's at it again here" and stuff. But like when you're actually in the practice rounds and in stuff like that, you know that those 73s are they're really close to being 68s and stuff. There's like massively difference in it. And it was the first year they weren't really much with it, but you could see like a real switch at some point.
Yeah, the first year from the 24 events that you played, we racked up 150,000 air miles and a total of $7,000.
Slammer's just trying to convince himself, like, I will earn a wage at some point. I will earn a wage. I will.
So when did you start working for Dan?
Fine.
It was after the Masters. When we were with ISM, Chubby said, "Will you start? Like, I want you to start going everywhere with Danny," because we were pals before that anyway. So we'd spend a lot of time together. Like, we'd go around his house, me and Charlotte, and obviously then when we had the kids, I had the twins in February and then went to the Masters in April. You see, so my wife was amazing and she let me go, which ended up being a result. So it just kind of we just decided at the end of 2017 it was that we'd just do something together rather than being with the company. So we did that, and it's been plain sailing ever since. There were a lot of people that did doubt Dan's ability. I never did. I always knew he'd get back, and he works too hard for him, to not get back to the best. And obviously with the team that we had, I thought we had a really good team with Kev, Duffy, and Foley, and everybody was sort of pitching in him. We were having even though he was playing a bit shit at first, we were still having a laugh.
Cheers, lads.
And we knew that when it did come good, it'd be really good. So I think it's been an interesting ride, but the win in Dubai was unbelievable. But to be fair, you talk about that Dubai win. He probably should have won in Turkey 2 weeks before that.
Yeah,
he played that well in Turkey.
Yeah, had a good chance in Turkey.
He probably should have won Turkey, really. He just put it like a helmet, didn't he?
I tell you what, there's one thing you don't lose though. There's one thing you don't lose. You don't lose where the finish line is. Like some people are golden on finish line, and some people aren't, are they? He's best closer I've been around.
I remember when you won in Dubai, mate, and I remember watching it on TV, and I was a little bit like, you want your mates to do well, don't get me wrong, but I remember I was actually a bit emotional over that point, because it was like this, I don't know, rise from the ashes for me. It was, we'd seen you at
like a phoenix.
And then obviously to get back to that was, it was just monumental, really. And I think there was a lot of positive press around you at that point as well. And it was really, it was really impressive to see. And it's a nice insight from everyone on the call, sort of talking about sort of everyone had the confidence in you that you'd get back to that point anyway.
They said that afterwards, didn't they?
Yeah, they weren't saying it before.
I always knew we were going to do that.
When did you start, Sam? When did you start with Dan?
Oh, it was the Players Championship in
2017.
17. I was working for Lipsky at the time, and I just
me and Smarty split at Hilton Head the week after Augusta in 2017.
I caddied for Dan at Hilton Head, by the way.
Muff had to caddy.
Yeah.
I've only ever caddied for 2 people, both major winners, so I've got a good CV.
Who else?
Solid. Aaron Clark.
Yeah, nice.
He's great, it's Clark. We had a laugh. We actually had a laugh that day, Dan, didn't we? Because you were pretty chilled out, I think.
I was playing pitch. It couldn't get any worse, and I didn't have a caddy. Brilliant! What a day.
It was good fun.
There was only one guarantee that was going to happen on that Friday, and that was that we were going to probably get drunk that night.
Dan, did you need to birdie the last at Wentworth? You need a par to win.
We won by 2 in the end, didn't we? But yeah,
the green,
obviously,
quality shot.
Yeah, obviously, after hitting the water with the second shot, we kind of had, we had a little bit to play with, I'd imagine, because we both birdied 17, didn't we?
Dan, what are you thinking at that point? You're like, just are you going like safe, or are you literally just supporting whatever the player's thinking? Are you like, whatever he's thinking, support it? You give him another option, take it, and he hits it in the rubbish. It's kind of like
no. Most of the time, Slammer's probably more aggressive than I am in his thinking.
Right. Probably.
I am quite aggressive. However, I would have been 4 and iron off the last tee and played it just as a 3-shot.
I'm just gonna put it out there that an iron off that tee box is only going left rough, and then your layups then hard.
Yeah, which is why we did.
You just made 7.
I would have played.
And that 3-wood's pretty good, eh?
Yeah, I pushed it a little bit.
He spotted it the last 2 days.
Pushed it a little bit. Love it.
If you know what it's like in Wentworth, you can do it as a 3-shot if you wanted to, couldn't you?
I think the layup's hard. I think the layup's horrendous. I would take
really
that shot. I would take that on in 2 more times than lay it up. The layup is horrendous into 18.
I'd much rather be in that second trap up the fairway and have to lay up with a wedge than trying to purposely lay short of that trap.
Yeah, agree.
Because if you hit someone that's going to get in that second trap, potentially going to fly the rubbish on the right if you block it a bit.
Yeah, it was definitely wind at Wentworth. That tee shot is a lot simpler, isn't it? Like you can go a really quite aggressive line, can't you? When there's no wind, if you get good bat on ball. Like if for the people by the tee box, they would have thought that 3-wood was miles right. But we both knew he'd got enough bat on ball there to be fine, really. But it was. And then you're so close to green, you can't not take it on, really, can you? I mean, what do you have in
we had
that
like 195.
We had like
195 front, didn't we? 194 front or something. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, 210.
That's the thing with 18 at Wentworth.
You know,
it is. You can get it far enough down there that the layup's almost pathetic. Why would you ever lay it up from there? You know, you only ever normally have 4 iron at most, really, unless you've really laid it up off the tee.
Yeah, no, it's a good last hole. You see a lot of stuff happening.
I remember feeling at Wentworth because obviously Dubai was very, very nervous. The last round was for us. For me, it was wandering around. But I remember just mentioning he just looked great, and so I said he's winning this. There's no way he's not winning it. You just looked just like even when you got in trouble, you still, luckily got out of it. But you know what I mean? You were smiling, and your attitude was just like awesome all that last day, which is obviously, plays a big part in it, I think.
It was my first hand of him actually having a chance of winning the tournament. On 14, he was 1 shot in the lead, and I remember just thinking like we was trying to get to a playing number, and it was little or something like this. It was like a little 9-iron or wedge. I don't want to go long, and I was like, different. I'm not used to this. To knock it 15-foot short hole and just cozy it down, and then next hole he'd do the same again. I'm like, he's on fucking autopilot here. I've never it were almost like I weren't there. It's unbelievable. Like as soon as he had a sniff of winning, he just simplified everything and just made it a piece of cake.
You didn't have a job to do. You still took the money at the end, though, didn't you, Sam?
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he? He took his Christmas bonus. Why do you think he's looking so dapper these days?
Dan, just one last one, and I was meant to ask you when you're playing the Masters. Last thing, playing 16, 17, 18. Are you thinking you're going to win the Masters, or are you thinking the standard 1 shot at a time, or are you thinking just get over the line here? I said to myself 5. I broke it down quite nicely. I said, look, we've got 5 swings.
So in the next however long, you're going to have to make 5 good swings. So whatever happens, we'll try and make 5 good swings and sign his card and carry on.
Yeah.
And luckily we came out the blocks and made one right away on 16.
I feel like Dan's won an award. It's like, I'm sorry I can't be here right now. You know, when you go your hand to him and they're like, there's a pool behind him and they're just going, sorry I can't be there right now.
Bro. Sorry I can't make it, guys, but the lockdown in Florida is a little warm outside.
It's awful. It's like when Andy Wirry wins Spotty every year and he's in his training camp in Orlando.
Yeah. Right, lads. Well, Dan, thanks for coming on. Lads, Sam, Muffy, go look after you. Go and have a little swim, mate. You look like you're struggling there, but
it's a little bit hot here. I'm going to go and chuck the kids in there.
See, Paul's kept his egg away the whole video as well. I thought he's going to get egg out there, but for his Easter, you know what I mean?
It is Easter.
He's covered the egg up.
At least egg out.
Listen, you guys are good. You guys were good. You all stick together. Me and Wero, the professional golfers, will carry on being bald.
I am actually a professional.
I get to wear a hat.
I mean, of sorts. Yeah. Well done. Well done. Al.
What? Cut this bit out.
Edit that one.
This is the best bit.
This has ended badly, hasn't it? I've been making Masters notes here for when I get there. I'm writing it all down.
But if anyone ever wants to know how to hit it further, you need to tune into Al's driver lessons.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Are you taking where if you met the Masters, are you taking him with you?
What, him? Yeah, I'd have to, wouldn't I?
Yeah. You'd have to get him on
Caddy
par 3. You'd have to do caddy on par 3. I might do a cribs. Video.
Wriggling.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Look at that.
Is that Sam's pool table?
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm about
3 by 3.
I'm about
That's
to raise him.
Size for me, that one, Slammer. If I play on that, I just look normal. I love them tables.
Do we like my homage to the Masters that we had to spray painted?
Oh,
look at that.
And there's a proper pool table. Because everyone sits there with their flags.
What? Don't know what you're on
about. How good's that?
Enjoy yourself.
Yes,
cheers, mate.
Bye, boys. See you, boys.
Bye, boys.
Bye. Cheers out. See you, buddy.
Well, that was interesting,
mate. It's just about the little differences of the feelings of playing. We spoke about it last week, didn't we? Playing a major and especially playing the Masters and what it's like to be getting to those sort of tournaments, and certainly in like being in contention in events. But I think this might sound a little bit ridiculous, but I think it's relative to players just playing the normal game of golf and you've got a good round going, you get on the 18th tee. If you've been on tour long enough and in major championships competing, I think it's different in majors actually, but it's relative to normal golf. They know the type of feelings just might be more intense when you've got however many million people watching you, but it's still the same thing you're trying to get done, innit? You're still trying to get over the line.
Well, he just had talk about him simplifying it, down to, he's leading the Masters. He's just walked off the 15th green to see Spieth making 105 down the 12th. And then, obviously, he's just simplified it instantly and gone, I just need to make 5 good swings.
Yeah, and that's literally it, isn't it? Can you make swings? It seems easy, doesn't it?
Oh, and you heard Sam talk about him like being just a naturally good closer. And some people just are. Because they naturally simplify it down that quickly and that easily. They make the job, which is it's such a massive job to do, but they make that job so small because they sort of take it down as these little manageable chunks that they can actually do.
You go that's bringing it so much more internally rather than everything. You're going to go try and win the Masters. You're going to go and try and shoot 66 or whatever it is in the last round to do it. It goes back down to, within me, can I make 5 good swing? Yeah. You told yourself you can do it. That's it. It's not going to go win the Masters. Can you go and win the Masters? Can you shoot a score that's going to be top of the leaderboard? It's, can I go and make 5 good swings? And
well, that's it.
Anyone can.
And we didn't talk about it too much, but you can guarantee when he was struggling, he would have simplified that down as well and gone, right, what have I got to do to get back to where I was? I've got to do X, Y, and Z. And he just would have gone and done those jobs.
Yeah.
And he got those jobs done. He wouldn't have thought about it on this massive level that I was top 20 in the world or wherever it was. I was a majors champion. I'm now 400 or 500 in the world or something. He wouldn't have thought about it in those terms. He would have gone, well, this needs a little bit of work here, that needs a little bit of work there, blah, blah, blah. And he would have just instinctively put everything into these little bite-sized, achievable chunks that then got him back to winning. You know, let's be fair, the lad doesn't win little events.
No, he doesn't. Wentworth.
He does not win little events. He wins massive events. He's a very underrated player, to be fair. I think that's massively with you. I think you've just got to be in the right situation, the right time, and whatever tournament you happen to be in contention with. It's not like that week, the week you won in Sweden. Yeah, it's European Tour event. You win a massive event. That could have easily been the PGA at Wentworth. It's just the week that it happened. It's not because it was not as big as Wentworth or anything like that. It's just the week that it happens, isn't it? And I think. That's where I think when you get in contention in a major in future, whatever ones it might be, I think you're well equipped. You've been on tour for however long, and I think it'd be the similar sort of story to what Dan just said there. I think it's just. Well, it'll be interesting. You know, it's one of those things, and it'd be great to eventually get back out there and play, mate. So, no, looking forward to it. So that's it. Episode 2 down the line, done. Massive thanks to Danny, Slammer and Muffy. 3 great lads. Me and the Biff loved filming this. Had a great laugh. I hope everyone else enjoyed it. Leave us a comment. Let us know if you did. If you could subscribe, that'd be brilliant. And we're going to try and do these quite regular, me and the Biff. So if you could press that little bell thing, that'll notify you when we post stuff, because I don't know how often it's going to be. I'm going to do some practice now, because I'm pretty sure the caddy in the par 3 competition at the Masters gets to play a couple of holes. Bit of backspin. But otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll see you next Tuesday. And I'll see you down the line. Coming back. It's in. It's in. It's in. Tiger's gone mad. Rossi's gone mad. I'm going off my head. I'm throwing clubs. That's new wedge, that. That is new, that. I'm sorry. Don't do that.